Hi guys, it's Mark from Burton Bibles, back with another video in our A to Z series. We've arrived at the letter M, and today we are going to look at margins. So we have a plethora of Bibles here. That's one of the reasons I like doing this series, because I can just basically empty my shelves and show you all these great Bibles, which hopefully you find interesting, and hopefully you get a feel of what I'm on about by looking at a range rather than just one or two Bibles. So we're looking at margins, and margins very simply is the, just use an example Bible. In fact, let's use a random example as I quickly look around. Let's look at my old Thompson chain reference. So the margin refers to the space that isn't text on the bottom, top, and along the edges. Now, obviously, in this Bible, you will see that this Bible does not have any margins to speak of, so it's no good. It's no good for marking or for putting notes in. But there are a range of options out there. But let's have a look at this one first of all. This is a text-only Bible. This is a King James Version text Bible from Thomas Nelson. Very nice it is too. I wish you could feel this, because this is wonderfully soft and smooth. Really, really nice. Very impressed with this. But you will see that in order to get this volume so thin, and in order to get it so compact, they have virtually eliminated all of the margin from this Bible. I don't have a problem with that, because it's made it wonderfully slim, but again, it's not an option if you want to mark and put notes in your Bible. However, there are plenty of good examples out there, and let's look at a few together. Here's a starting at the lower end of the spectrum in terms of cost, shall we say. This is a New King James Version Note Taker's Bible from Zondervan, and when we open it, you'll see that yes, there's some nice margins here, and we'll get our ruler out and we'll have a quick look at the margin size. It's approximately, well, it's less than 1.5 inches. It's more like 1.25 inches, shall we say. But you will notice that this Bible doesn't have much of a top margin, perhaps just 1/4 of an inch in some places. And the bottom margin is also less generous, just over an inch, but you are getting 1.25 inches, up to 1.5 inches, shall we say, in the left hand and in the right hand margin. It does seem to be less on the left hand side for some unknown reason. The right hand side does seem to be more generous. That is between 1.25 inches and 1.5 inches. Well, that's about the same. So 1.25 inches, 1.5 inches. So that's the story with that Bible. So you've got something to go on there. Obviously, paper's going to be a big factor as well. So you need to check on the thickness of the paper and just test if you're looking at marking your Bible. Here's another one. Here's a classic. This is the ESV Journaling Bible that I spilt coffee all over. And in a Bible like this, we're not so much thinking about the top or the bottom, but they've actually taken it upon themselves to give you a layout that's designed for marking. And there is a generous 2-inch plus margin there. If you're taking the bit they've given you, it's just under 2 inches, but if you actually take it from the text to the edge of the page, it's more like 2.25 inches there. However, they have put these lines, which is a little bit annoying because they are really, really narrow. I wish they'd just left that, perhaps, but there's a Bible that you can mark, and again, this Bible was about £20, and I think this one is something similar, possibly even less. So there's a good option if you're looking to mark your Bible. Here's another one. I think this Bible retails for £15 or so. Actually, it says £25, but I bet you'll get it for cheaper than that. But wow, look at this. This has got a lot of nice clear space here. We've got 2.5 inches of margin there. Not much along the top or the bottom, but in these margins here, we've got 2.5 inches where we can just go crazy with notes. And maybe that's giving you a little bit more freedom to put your notes in there. Paper's nice and opaque as well, and feels a decent thickness. That's the NIV single column journaling Bible from Hodder and Stoughton in the UK here. So that's a decent option as well. Low cost, different translations. Here is the KJV Note Taker's Bible from Zondervan. We've looked at the NKJV. In the KJV, they've given you 1.25 inches, not much. They've given you a nice 1.25 inches again at the bottom, nothing at the top, and again 1.25 inches in the left and right margins. Nothing in the gutter here. This is what we call the gutter. Nothing in there at all, although it is historically quite difficult to put notes in the gutter. So that's something else to think about when you're looking for a Bible to notate. I know a lot of people, and I've started doing this myself, who will get a cheap Bible like this and just mark it up, go crazy, mark it up, highlight stuff, you know, scribble notes in the column without getting too precious about keeping their Bibles nice and saving their best notations for their more costly wide margin Bibles. But that's the beauty of these Bibles. You can get these for £20, sub £20, and mark them up and enjoy them for what they are, and then move on to something else when you've marked this up. So yeah, that's another good option, especially if you want KJV. There's a nice cheap one from Zondervan. Now we're moving on a bit. I don't know if this is still printed. This is a wide margin Bible from Nelson Publishers. This is my granddad's old Bible, and we've not got a hugely generous margin, just over 1 inch. Bit better down the bottom, 1.5 inches, and there is something in the gutter about 1 inch that you can use. And yeah, Grandad definitely did mark this, and seemed to like blue tacking note paper in his Bible as well. But there's lots of notes in here. You can see that we've got plenty of notes in the margin and underlining going on. But he wasn't really that one for sort of marking his Bible, but he's certainly done a good job of it there. So that's one from Thomas Nelson. You might want to see if that's still available. I'm not sure if it is or not. But here's some more premium Bibles. Let's start with the Oxford wide margin, which isn't produced by Oxford anymore, but there is a version that's available from R.L. Allen if you want this Brevia Clarendon wide margin. So let's take a look at it. It's got good margins. It's just under 1.5 inches, but it has a generous gutter of 1.5 inches as well, and just over 1 inch at the top, maybe 1.25 inches, not quite 1.25 inches, more like 1 inch top and bottom, but 1.25 inches there and 1.25 inches there. So decent, generous margins and very thick paper, certainly in this edition. This is an original Oxford one, but I'll show you where I've been doing some marking as well. Done some marking in Galatians over the last few nights, and it takes pen really well, for sure. Now on to Cambridge. Here's an ESV wide margin that they do. This is Current Bible, bound in calf split leather, which I'm a big fan of. And here in the ESV, they've given you about just over 1 inch, not quite 1 inch at the top, and we've got nearly 1.5 inches and only half 1 inch in the gutter. Gutter pretty much redundant on this one, apart from putting a word or a symbol there. But you do have half decent left and right margins of about 1.25 inches, going on for 1.5 inches. So that's another good option for you. Obviously the ESV is a completely different layout to the KJV, which is what we have here. This is the King James Version wide margin from Cambridge, and as we lay it out, we'll see that we've got about just under 1.5 inches left and right, and we've got about 1 inch at the bottom and about 1 inch at the top, maybe not quite 1 inch there, but we do have a usable gutter of about 1 inch now, so we can actually start using the gutter of this Cambridge wide margin. Absolutely beautiful Bible, great paper, certainly will take your note-taking pens. Certainly it will take note-taking pens such as he says as he looks furiously for his note-taking pens. 3 of my favourites. We have the Pigma Micron. This is in 005 format. We have the G-Tech C4. This is 0.2 millimeters. This is, I believe, 0.28 millimeters. And this one here is the Mica, which is the same as the G-Tech C4. This is in brown. And this, it says 0.4, but I think it writes something like a 0.28 millimeter line. But if you want to go fine, if you want to be careful, then certainly these 005s are the way to go. The 01 is also a good diameter to use. So yeah, lots to be said about margins. Really, you want it. You want margins all over. If you want to study and mark your Bible properly, you need generous margins all round. So definitely something to look out for there. But if you do want to just simply get into Bible marking and try it out, you could do that on any Bible, but we have looked at some lower cost Bibles here from Crossway, Hodder and Staunton, Zondervan, Thomas Nelson probably as well, and you can certainly get into marking your Bible without fear of ruining a £175 Bible. Use one of these for £15, £20, £25, and perhaps mark the Bible for a year. Go through a daily reading plan and get yourselves one of these pens and just go through and underline what you like, make notes, put words, thoughts by the side of your Bible and enjoy marking your Bible, and you can do that with the margins. So I hope you've enjoyed that look at lots of Bibles there, looking at M for margins, and I'll see you again on another video soon. Thanks, bye.